It's March 3rd. In today's reading, we read of one of the most tragic events in all of Scripture. Upon hearing the reports from the scouts, the children of Israel weep. Yes, the land was robust with all of the material blessings God had described, but all they could see was that they weren't strong enough to take possession of the land. Chapter 13, verse 33, we were in our sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. Fearing they'll be destroyed in the attempt to take the land, they succumb to the familiar complaint in chapter 14, verse 2. We wish that we had died in the land of Egypt. And so they panicked, and they actually conspired to choose a new leader to take them back to Egypt. Well, God would have none of that. He wanted a people that would trust Him, so much so that He is willing to be done with this stubborn generation and raise up a new one. Only Moses' intercession spares their life. But the people are sentenced to 40 years in the desert, 1 year for each day the scouts visited the land. Only those 20 years and younger would be allowed to enter the promised homeland. Their sentence is sobering. Not them, but their children, the next generation, a generation that would trust God. They will know the land that you have rejected. The 10 scouts who incited the rebellion are killed by a plague. The stiff-necked reaction of the people to the prospect of facing 40 years in the desert confirms their insistence on doing things their own way. They try to take the land without God's help and are routed. Joshua and Caleb alone understand the reality at hand, that the inhabitants, strong as they appeared, did not have the God of Israel fighting for them. Those giants were no match for the God of Israel. Joshua and Caleb are the only men from their generation that will be allowed into the promised land. And so these people that within the last 3 years had witnessed the dismantling of the Egyptian empire, the destruction of the Egyptian army, the miraculous parting of the Red Sea, the supernatural provision of manna and quail, and saw the daily pillar of fire hovering over the tabernacle, failed to enter into their destiny because they didn't believe God would do what He promised. What a tragedy. They simply didn't trust God enough to step up and live the life for which they were destined. They were captive to the mindset that they were on their own. They still didn't realize that God was not just with them, but He was fighting for them. Only Moses, Joshua, and Caleb understood this truth. Where the ark, the presence of God, went, no army could stand in the way. Today, God is still looking for a people who will trust Him. God has profound plans and intentions for humanity, plans that require people to step up in faith, answer the call, trust Him to do what He has promised, and follow Him into their destiny. Here's today's application. Do you want to walk in the destiny that God has for you? Or are you willing to settle for what is familiar, convenient, comfortable, and safe? What does God want for you? Is God calling you to a greater level of influence, to be able to have a greater impact for His purposes? If so, it will require a deeper level of intimacy. It will result in a deeper level of dependency and probably greater risk. It will require you to trust Him. Take Him up on His promises and trust that He is fighting for you. Now here's today's prayer.